Welcome to the Retirement Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Greg Gonzalez. My goal for the podcast is to help you live a better life in retirement by giving you the tools and information you need in a language that you can understand. This is episode number 102. On today's episode, I wanted to discuss the expectations that we have for our financial advisor, our financial planner, our investment advisor, whatever you want to call him or her. Now, my inspiration behind creating this episode, this conversation, is based on the questions that I'm getting and based on the conversations that I'm having with people that are already currently working with a financial advisor. And oftentimes I'm hearing that these folks have been working with the same financial advisor for 10, 20 years. So on today's episode, I wanted to really encourage all of the listeners, if you're working with a financial advisor, to expect more. And by more, I mean more planning, more advice, more service. Now, retirement is a huge decision, and you have to be well prepared for this. And you might be thinking, well, what does preparation have to do with success? Well, just look at Michael Jordan. Many people that were close to Michael Jordan said, why was he so successful? Because he prepared better and harder than anybody else. If anybody watched Michael Jordan practice, you would immediately know why he was so successful. It all comes back to preparation. The same can be said with retirement planning. You've got to be prepared. You have to have a plan. So on today's episode, I want to talk about what to expect from your financial advisor, investment advisor, whatever you call them, because this financial advisor that you have chosen is going to be the captain of your retirement journey. I often tell my clients, don't think of me as a retirement planner. Think of me as an airline pilot. And sometimes people look at me like, what's he talking about? What's Greg talking about? And what I mean by that is when you fly, there's only really three things that you care about. You want to take off and land on time. You want to get where you're going safe. And you want to make sure your baggage gets there. Retirement is very similar. You want to be able to retire when you planned on it, meaning you want to retire on time. You want to be able to retire comfortably and stay comfortably retired. And you want to have everything in retirement that's going to make you happy, everything that you dreamed of. And that's what your pilot, your retirement planner, is there to make sure all of those three things happen. So on today's episode, that's what we're going to talk about, expecting more and what to expect out of your financial advisor. Before we get into that, I wanted to remind listeners to check out our website, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. That's retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. You can listen to all of our previous episodes right there on the website. You can submit your listener questions. Next week, we're going to have a few that we're going to go over. A lot of people have submitted your questions, so thank you to those people. At the bottom of the website, it says Ask Greg a Question. Type it in, submit, and we'll get back with you and possibly even use your question on a future episode. Aside from that, I also want to point out the resources. I make all of our resources free right there on the website, and I have boiled my 3 steps to retirement planning down to 3 different resources. Step number 1 to retirement planning is my Blueprint to a Dream Retirement. You can download that right there on the website. It says Blueprint to a Dream Retirement. Print that out. If you're married, you and your spouse complete it. If you're single, complete it by yourself. That's step number 1 to retirement, figuring out what you want. What's the old saying that I love? You gotta have a dream if you want a dream to come true. And there was a famous interview that I just absolutely loved, and I remember it even to this day. They asked the founder of IBM. The guy's name is Thomas Watson. And we're talking about IBM, Fortune 500 company, huge company. But they asked Thomas Watson, how did you build such an amazing company? And he said, well, it was pretty simple, actually. I just thought about what I wanted and I worked backwards. That is so profound. And that's why the Blueprint to a Dream Retirement is step number 1 of my retirement process. Step number 2 is figuring out how much this is going to cost us, how much a dream retirement is going to cost us. You've got fixed expenses, you've got discretionary expenses like traveling and all of the fun stuff that you want to do in retirement. Maybe you want to golf more. Maybe you want to travel more, spend more time on your hobbies. Maybe you want to cook less and eat out more and dine out more. Maybe you want to spend more time with grandkids. Maybe travel to see some old friends that you haven't seen. Maybe it's traveling to see your kids or other family members. So step number 2 is my budgeting tool, and you'll want to download that right on the website. That's going to figure out how much this is going to cost us. How much are we going to need to live on in retirement? So step number 1 was easy. We got to figure out what we want. That's our blueprint to a dream retirement. Step number 2 was our budgeting tool. How much that dream retirement's going to cost us. Step number 3 is what I call the retirement action plan. Well, what is that? Well, the retirement action plan is kind of like the grocery list that you build before you go grocery shopping. You don't just walk into the grocery store and start buying things at random and throwing them in the cart. You start with a grocery list. So I built a retirement action plan summary that you can download right on the website. That's step number 3. It describes what a retirement action plan is. And there's many of you out there that may have a version of a retirement action plan, and maybe it needs to be updated. And that's okay. But the point of the retirement action plan is to help answer the most important and crucial questions when it comes to your retirement, like when you can afford to retire, and then once you're retired, how much you can afford to comfortably spend every month in retirement. And in my opinion, your retirement action plan will answer one of the most important questions out there, which is for your retirement to be successful. What is the minimum average annual growth rate you need from your investment portfolio so you don't have to worry about running out of money? Now, there's many other questions that this retirement action plan will help answer, but this is the crucial final step to my retirement planning process is the retirement action plan. So check that out. That's step number 3. You can download the details of the retirement action plan right there on my website, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. All right, before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to thank a couple emails that I've received from listeners, Phil and Nancy. Thank you so much for your compliments on the podcast, and congratulations. Both Phil and Nancy are going to be retiring in the next 12 months. So hats off to the both of you, and I'm happy you were both able to pick up a tip or some great information that you can utilize in your own retirement plan. So thanks to Phil and Nancy. All right, on today's episode, I wanted to encourage everyone, if you're working with a financial advisor, you're getting close to retirement, and you have all these questions, I would really encourage you to be meeting with a regular basis with your financial advisor and updating your retirement plan every 6 months, especially as you get close to retirement. Things can change, especially with the stock market volatility we've had so far in 2022. And I have really been disheartened by some of the questions that I'm getting and the response from some of the listeners that say they're working with a financial advisor, but they have questions about Social Security. And my first thought is, why are you reaching out to me? Why wouldn't you reach out to a financial advisor who you know and you've been working with for years? And their response is surprising to me, but they say, oh, we have, but our financial advisor doesn't know anything about Social Security. In fact, he told us to call the Social Security Administration, call the 800 number. And other times, it's the same scenario, but their advisor doesn't know anything about pensions, or their advisor doesn't know anything about estate planning or tax planning, like doing Roth conversions in retirement. And like I said, I have just been blown away by the amount of people that are paying a financial advisor a lot of money, either by hourly fees or an advisory fee, or maybe it's commissions. You're paying your advisor, whether you realize it or not, you're paying him or her a lot of money to help you with financial decisions. Whether it's retirement planning, Social Security planning, or something else, you're paying this person a lot of money. I would encourage you to get your money's worth. Now, I don't want this to come off as I'm not interested in helping people. Believe me, I answer dozens and dozens of questions that come in through the Retirement Made Easy podcast website, and I'm happy to continue doing that. I have just been shocked that more people are not first reaching out to their financial advisor because they're paying these people so much money and they deserve the best advice and service. And really, your financial advisor should know more about you than I ever will. So if you've got retirement planning on your mind, and this is the year 2022 that you want to get this nailed down, I would call your current provider, whoever that is, the person you call your financial advisor that you're paying, and say, hey, I want a retirement plan, or I need to update my retirement plan. It's time to get serious about this, and I want to know when I'm going to be able to retire. And am I saving enough for retirement at this point in time, or should I be bumping up my savings? And I think with the market being down this year, it's a great opportunity to update that retirement action plan. That maybe your advisor just calls it a retirement plan. But you need to update that document to see if you're way off course, way off track at this point, because your investment portfolio is down temporarily. But I think now is a perfect time to ask your advisor for that retirement action plan and tell him or her, I'm ready to get serious. Let's do some real planning. I'm not here just to talk about investments. I'm not here to talk about President Biden. I'm not here to talk about gas prices. But rather, I want to talk about building a retirement action plan that's going to map out my journey from where I am to where I want to be. And most people, where you want to be is retirement. You want to be comfortably retired. And that's exactly what a lot of people are missing out on. And they're paying their financial advisor a lot of money, either through fees or commissions, and they're not asking for this retirement action plan. And they should be. If you're not getting that retirement action plan, well, you're not getting your money's worth. The days of paying a financial advisor to pick stocks for you because you believe maybe this person is an expert stock picker. That's like trying to pick the raindrop that's going down the glass and to see which one will make it to the bottom first. If you're focusing on that, just the investments, you're missing the boat. Whenever somebody calls me up, the call goes something like this. Hello, Greg. I'm 60 years old. My wife is 58 years old. I'm thinking about retiring. I don't know if we're on track. I've got IRAs. I have Roth IRAs, and I'm currently saving in a 401k through my employer. One of the first things I want to ask this person is, do you have a retirement plan? Or show me your retirement plan. And again, the purpose of the retirement plan is going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. If you want to retire at 65, you're 60 today, you've got 5 years to make this work. The retirement plan will show you what you should be doing between 60 and 65 to be able to retire on time and how much you're going to be able to live on in retirement once you do retire. And oftentimes this 60-year-old person that calls me will say, well, we don't have a retirement plan. We're just now trying to get serious about retirement. It seems like 65 is sneaking up on us. It's just a handful of years away, and we want to get serious. So I hope by this conversation, you have learned to ask for more from your financial advisor and have more productive meetings. Don't just talk about the price of gas and President Biden and Donald Trump and the weather. Talk about your retirement plan and how it needs to be adjusted or updated. Or if you're just starting out, maybe it needs to be built. And if your financial advisor says, well, we don't really do retirement plans, we cannot produce a document that's going to give you the information that you're looking for. Well, I hate to say this, but you might consider finding financial advisor, but one who happens to specialize in retirement planning. I know I've mentioned this on other podcast episodes, but when it comes to financial advisors, some of us specialize in certain areas. For example, I know financial advisors who just specialize in 401k plans. That's all they do. They don't do Roth IRAs. They don't do retirement planning. They just help set up and maintain 401k plans. And yes, they are financial advisors, but that's their specialty. Others like myself happen to specialize in retirement planning. And for myself, that happens to be retirement planning for people 50 and over. I'm not the person you want to call if you want to invest in Bitcoin or gold or silver or real estate investing. I'm not that person. And then there's other financial advisors, as an example, that will specialize in life insurance and all the different areas of life insurance. And they may also specialize in annuities because annuities are offered through life insurance companies. So oftentimes these advisors will work for a life insurance company and offer life insurance and annuities, and that's their specialty. So you have to find a specialist. Just like my doctor, my general practitioner, he always wants to refer me to other doctors. Just this last time, he referred me to a dermatologist. So getting back to today's episode, you want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth with your financial advisor because you're paying them, whether you realize it or not, whether it's advisory fees, commissions, hourly rates, you're paying your financial advisor and you deserve professional advice and someone that's going to help you build that retirement action plan that will get you from here to there. There meaning retirement. Your financial planner is there to do the planning, not just talk about investments, not to talk about the news or inflation. Your financial planner is there to build a bulletproof retirement plan. That's what you want. And we call that a retirement action plan. Again, you can find the 3 steps to the retirement planning process on my website, retirementmadeeasypodcast.com. Right under the resources tab, you'll see step 1, blueprint to a dream retirement. Step 2 is our budgeting tool, how much our retirement is going to cost us every month. Step number 3 is the retirement action plan. You can download the summary to the retirement action plan right there. I hope this episode of the Retirement Made Easy podcast has inspired you to contact your financial advisor if you're working with one and say, hey, I want to get serious. I want to build my retirement action plan to see if I'm on track and to see what steps we should be taking between now and when we retire. Now is the time to plan out how to optimize your Social Security, what your tax situation is going to look like in retirement. Maybe you should be doing Roth conversions right now at this stage in the game. Or maybe your strategy calls for you paying off debt like your mortgage between now and retirement. Whatever the case, ask and expect more from your financial planner. So make sure you're getting your money's worth. I'll see you next time for the next episode of the Retirement Made Easy podcast. And remember, always dream big. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, please consult your attorney, financial advisor, or tax advisor prior to investing. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA, SIPC.